Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Thursday, October 21st, 2021. And I thought fall was here, but once again, we were fooled. Temperatures started dropping this week, and we thought, oh, time to turn the heat on. Time to turn the heat on. And lo and behold, temperatures have gone back up. I was checking some past posts that I had on Facebook, and apparently there were days, a couple years ago where it was like in the 80s. And currently it is 73, but they're calling for temperatures as high as 79 on Sunday and Monday. And then it's going to cool down again. But I thought fall was here, and we get this, the false fall comes in, goes away. We get, oh, it's time. No, it's not time. So it's warm. It's warm today. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. I do this on Mondays at 7 o'clock. I do this at Sunday at 7 p.m. And I do it on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Usually the Thursday episode is a little shorter just because it's in the middle of the day and I have things to do. And I'm doing things, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute. But as of right now, things are looking pretty good here at the shop. I was working on putting the radio in this car. I'm very close to having that finished. I decided to not complete the process, even though I've done all the work, because I need to hook up an antenna. That's one thing I forgot. So I ordered an antenna from Amazon. One of those, it's a little antenna that you can stick to your windshield. I will not stick it to the windshield. I'll probably stick it inside, under the dash somewhere, just something so that it'll pick up some radio signal. So once I get that in, I can set the thing back in and be done with it. Again, this is that retro sound radio kit thing. I'll just say this. I'm not overly impressed. I mean, I like the system. I like the radio. I like what it does. It's supposed to be 18 watts of power, which isn't much. And I don't know if it's the speaker choice that I made for the back or something else. I don't know, but something doesn't sound right. And I don't know what I'm going to do about it, if anything. Right now, the radio works. The functions are all there. Everything's fine. But, I'm not going to win any sound awards. I'm not going to go to some cruise in and blow out the windows, which I never planned to do anyway. So I just wanted something that would play music, and that's what it's going to do. It's making me rethink the kicker speakers down in the kick panels, though. Because those are like infinity speakers, high power. They're not going to get that kind of power. I don't have an amp or anything hooked up. And it's just going to be, just a basic radio at that point. But I'm almost done with that. And a couple other minor things. I did hook up the console, and I hooked up the rod that connects the lever to the light indicator in the console. I'm not happy with that. It works. It does what it's supposed to do. It moves the light, but the light does not line up as it should with the park reverse neutral drive indicators on the console. There's nothing you can do about it other than redesigning the system or modifying the brackets that hold everything. I'm not going to mess with it. I know that it lights up. I know that the shifter's right. I know that it drives. I'm not going to mess with it. Leave it alone, and just don't get overly concerned with the light being off slightly inside of that. It was probably off when it was new, honestly. Anyway, let me see who's here. Crash Rider is checking in. Greetings from beautiful Southern Indiana. Anyone watching should be sure to hit the like button. I agree. And I'll give you the bell for that. Thank you. And if you don't know, if anybody's new here, I do these bell things. If somebody asks a question or have a good comment, they get the answer. Whoever answers it gets a bell. Little incentive to have you participate. Rusty's Mustang Garage. I think we are a little early. Well, that's okay. You're not that early. That was around 2:23. Yeah, a little early. Greg's Workshop checking in from Australia. Glad you're here. Ron Bell checking in from Northeast Tennessee. Awesome. Tom Betzer. Hello from Michigan. Tom, I think that's a new name. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think I've seen your name here before. So I'll give you a new viewer bell. How about that? Robert checking in from out in Texas. I'm here, took a break from running airlines in the shop and disorganizing the shop in the meantime. Yeah, I'll talk more about that in a minute. Hello, all from Denmark. Thank you, Karsten. Glad you're here. And Robert says 81 here, 85 the rest of the weekend, but I won't be here for it. Yeah. I'll be here. I'll be here. Boogie Bum. Hello, everyone. Give a thumbs up. Yes, please. Mike Wincho. Hello, car's looking great. Mike from Akron, Ohio. Keep up the excellent channel. Thank you, Mike. I don't know if I've seen that name before, but welcome. Glad you're here. Let's see. In front of Crossman, what is the antenna thing you speak of? Do they still transmit radio over the air? Yeah. On Amazon, they have these little. Just if you Google like searched on their small radio antenna, it's really just a little block. They have a couple of them. They have one that's like a little block about that long, and they have one with two ears on it, kind of like an old TV antenna. And they just have a sticky thing on them. You can stick them onto the cowl or whatever. That's what I'm going to be using. It should be here tomorrow, hopefully. Charlie, are you observing polarity with the radio output to the speakers? Yes, I think. I'll put it this way. I know I identified the wiring from the front speakers. You know, I made sure that the wire with the black lead was a ground, and I identified it with the center speaker up under in the dash. But I'm starting to rethink it on the rear speakers. I'll have to double check that. I may have gotten that backwards. So good observation. I was thinking about that myself, but I wasn't. You gave me a reason to go look, so I will double check that because the rear speakers just don't sound right at all. I mean, they just don't sound good. So I will check that. Ray Buckman, afternoon from Colorado. Glad you're here, Ray. Leonard, afternoon. How's everyone doing? Glad you're here, Leonard. And Charlie Seidelman, Eastern Pennsylvania weather is great here. Yeah, Charlie Seidelman. That's a new name too, I think. Give you a bell for that. So today, the choice or decision was made to start getting parts together from the 67. So I went and picked up a trailer full of parts, and I had to find a place to store them. So I got all the parts put away for the most part. All the important stuff that should never get wet is inside. Other stuff that is new is inside. Some of the older pieces, like the old doors, which are rusted out anyway, they're outside. The fenders, which are okay condition, they're outside right now. But I got everything here except for the car. The car is next on the list. Now, I may try to get it today yet. I'm going to need some help. So I have to see if Hindsight 6-7 Roger is doing anything this afternoon, and if you'd like to participate in a car recovery. The difficulty with getting this car and where it was at is the driveway, because the house it's like the road is on a taper downhill, and then the yard is a big taper downhill. So it kind of everything drops away, and then the driveway isn't straight. It kind of snakes to the bottom, like almost to the basement of his house. I'm not backing the car trailer down there. I just don't see it happening. I mean, I know it can be done, but there are limitations for getting the car out and turning it and getting it onto the trailer. So I think what we're going to do is probably hook a strap to the car and just tow it all the way up to the street, set up the trailer in front of it, and then winch it on. I think that'll be the easiest thing to do. If you'll notice, you can kind of see through the window there. There is a Shelby hood over there. Part of this package deal, the car he had bought a Shelby kit for it. Now that's cool, but there I noticed. Let me grab the nose piece for you. I did notice, because it has been moved around so much. And what I mean is this car has been to multiple shops. And what I noticed right now is there's a crack up here in this corner. So from this being flexed, it has created a crack on both sides in that same location. And this one's a bit worse. Now I'll point out this is really thin stuff right here. I don't know why they made this so thin, but I mean I can repair all that. I'm pretty handy with fiberglass. Uh, am I going to use it on the car? Unlikely. I don't plan to make it a Shelby style car. I would rather just make it into, go from the coupe to the fastback, keep it as a fastback style, and, you know, finish it out that way or have it built that way. Now, if somebody else wants to take these pieces and do something with them as far as a Shelby, we can talk. But at this point, I don't plan to try to create a, Eileen car or whatever. Speaking of which, I posted on my Facebook page. I shared pictures of the project or picking up the parts and all that stuff, and I'm asking people to help me with a name for the car. Because you got to have a name. Um, One of the better ones I like because I had said I had picked up a bunch of loose parts, right? And I mean there was a whole bunch of all kinds of stuff. Somebody said you should name it Lucy. I kind of like that actually. Lucy actually has a nice little, catch to it. Somebody else said AMT, and they put a picture of a model kit. Thought that was pretty funny. So at AMT, I forget who had said that I should name it Felix. If it was Bob or not, I don't know if it was Bob or somebody else. Said I should name it Felix the Fastback. So I'm looking for input. I'm looking for input. Another one said Hasbro. Everything's included with the batteries, toy type of thing. And what was the other one? There was another one. I can't remember them all. It was funny, but I really kind of like Lucy because it's loose parts. It kind of goes together. Dawn checking in, almost on time. Hello everyone. Okay, now I'm logged in. Okay, glad you're here, Dawn. Ray, Eileen, over, but I don't fall down. Yeah, yeah, eh. I get it. I don't know if I want to go with that though. I didn't mind Felix either. Felix the Fastback. That didn't bother me. Somebody had put Optimus Prime, Transformer, because it's going to be, converted over. But I have not committed to anything in particular. But I am leaning towards Lucy. I kind of like that, Lucy. And then somebody else had said name it Basket Case. Well, I could, but we already have the Basket Case Camaro, right? So kind of a conflict of interest on that side. But anyway, the guy who owned it, I hate it for him. He has had this thing. He had it at several body shops. He's thrown a lot of money at it. He had, I mean, over the time, trying to get this done and that done, and shops would take his money, and then nothing would get done, or they would do it wrong. And there's a lot of things that are just kind of sketchy, really sketchy done. Sketchily. Is that a word? Sketchily? They were done in a sketchy manner. And, I hate it for the guy. He couldn't just keep throwing money at it. He realized he needed to cut his losses and get rid of it. And that's where I'm at. That's where I stepped in. So I hope that I can do it justice and get it. First of all, I got to get the parts for it. The fastback kit. I've got to get all that for it. It came with the Shelby nose, hood, the Shelby louvers on the side or intake duct things, the Shelby deck lid with the little quarter extensions. It came with at least part of a classic auto air kit. Still in the box, never opened, but I was looking at the box, and interestingly enough, it said box 1 of 2 on the UPS label. So that tells me there's probably something missing. But it's still all, still in that box. Came with an aluminum radiator, which the radiator is a cross flow, but it's not for an automatic. It's set up for a manual car, or something you're to add a trans cooler to. Aluminum radiator. It also came has the seats. It has There's a 289 with it, which has 302 heads, but unfortunately, water got into the engine and seized up the pistons. And excuse me, the man tried to break loose the pistons. May have gotten a little bit of a hurry, but the um, piston, he broke a piston, just busted it out. So we, the block is fine, needs to be honed. The heads are good. They're 302 heads. Excuse me, got some dust or something. 302 heads, 4-barrel intake manifold, headers. There's an aluminum distributor, all kinds of extra stuff. And what else was there? Oh, he has the car, I think, was a drum brake car originally, but it's got disc brakes on it. So he must have upgraded the disc brakes. I've got the booster and that sort of thing. What else was there? It was kind of unique. Oh, the transmission's rebuilt. It's all rebuilt. He said that basically this car, prior to going to one of the shops, I don't know which one in particular, but it was basically a driver. I mean, it was a drivable car that he wanted to get a paint job on, and I think put the Shelby kit on. And they started digging and digging and digging and digging, and it got worse and worse and worse. So I've never seen a car rust. Like it's really weird. The drip rail at the top, like right there. Okay. The drip rail and the roof is completely rusted through, like a big hole like that, where it's just gone. And it's like, how does it get rust there? Now the car didn't have a vinyl top on it either. Really weird. Up in the windshield post on the opposite side, well, the windshield frame in the corner there, the roof is gone. It's all rotted away. You're looking at infrastructure there. Um, there's rust in the package shelf. How does that happen? There's rust in the where the see if I can get to this. There's rust right, not down here, but like right here in the window channel or the roof channel. It's all rusted through in a big hole right here. It's just obscure kind of things that have rust in it. The car has a new set of floor pans in it. It does have a new firewall, new kick panels. I think it has a new cowl. And somebody tried to patch the A-pillar, and it's not pretty. Where it comes up and transitions into the windshield frame, there's a section there that is, I don't know what their plan was. They didn't even match the shape of the A-pillar. They just put a piece of metal in there and bent it over and then welded it together. And the corner where they meet it's not even close. So they would have probably just built that up with filler and just hidden it. The right frame rail, somebody has, where it had the battery, it rusted out, and somebody, I don't know where they got this patch from, but it was horrible. It's like like a slip over type of frame patch. It doesn't match the dimension of the original, and it's just welded on. The core support will have to be replaced. There's some issues at the bottom of that where it's separated. Like they had made some patches and tack welded them on, and I grabbed it with my fingers and just broke the piece out. It's like, who does this stuff? What else was there? It's got the Shelby tail panel in it. They did put the Shelby tail panel in it, which doesn't really matter because I'm going to, go with the fastback transformation. So I may just sell this whole Shelby kit. I may just sell it separately. I don't know. I may just hold on to it. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. But I don't want to build the car with the Shelby kit on it. I just don't feel it. At least at this point. Now, as I said before, I'm just going to do the sheet metal on this car. I'm just going to, get it together, get it straight, and then put it up for sale. I just have to do that. I can't build the whole car. Um, Otherwise, that's pretty much it for that car, you know. But I hope to get it here, and it'll probably my timeline. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I've juggled with what I want to do. Like I want to get the Camaro in here and get it done. You know, so the 67 may get put aside temporarily because I still have to get the sheet metal for it. I'm not going to cut anything loose anywhere until I have the sheet metal. And the 68 Camaro, I have all the sheet metal for it. So I'm further ahead working on the 68 Camaro and trying to get it all put together. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I may also try to do a quick series, let's say, on that Honda Civic that I've talked about before. But my bigger thought process is the 67 Mustang or the 68 Camaro. And I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to start cutting parts off and not be able to put things back together. I've seen that done before. That was one thing I was taught when I was working on airplanes. You're working on commercial aircraft, and I had when I first started, they had a repair card. They would give you this repair card and say, replace fasteners at this location. And I I went to that location and I removed the fasteners. And then I went to get the kit to install the fasteners. Unfortunately, the kit wasn't on hand. They didn't have the kit. And my lead mechanic at the time was like, "Don't ever do that. Never remove hardware until you have the new hardware in your hand." He said, "Because you'll never know. I think those ones that I removed, I cut them off, so they were destroyed. I couldn't put them back in." And he was like, "Lesson learned. Never, ever, ever do that." And so I try to keep that in mind whenever, for the most part, when I'm doing these sort of things, that I need to have pieces and parts here, so that I can, put them back in. Test fit, test fit, test fit, right? Robert, if you don't do the work yourself, you're further ahead just buying a finished car than trying to have shops build it for you. Yes, very true. Very true. Jerry checking in from Middle Tennessee at the Money Pit. Glad you're here, Jerry. Jason, just replaced a roof skin. What do you recommend to replace the lead at the A-pillar roof skin? Seems like plastic filler would be too thick. Well, I mean, there's products out there. I don't use lead. I'm not comfortable using lead. Um, I've always melted it out, and like on these cars when I do the quarters, I know it's hard for me to point here. When I do the quarters where they join together, I would melt out the lead, weld everything back together, and then I would use like short strand fiberglass tiger hair body filler. Start with that, and then add other fillers on top of that, but just use the tiger hair as a base. Now up front, when you say it's plastic filler would be too thick, so you're saying it would take too much filler to fill that in, is what you're saying. They do make a what do they? I'm sure somebody has an answer for me. There's a metal filler that actually has metal in it that's really, really, really strong. I think I've used it once, but I can't remember for sure. So there is a special body filler that is metal based or has metal in it, and I've heard good things about that. Can't say exactly if it's going to do what you want, but other than melting new lead in there, there's uh, maybe some other options. Now, what you could do if you really wanted to, I mean, obviously you're unlikely you're going to replace the roof again, right? Are you against just welding that together? Just weld it up some. I mean, that's a pretty simple option. If you just ran some beads back and forth, kind of build it up, ground it out, and then put filler on top of that, that may be an option too. Because weld's not going anywhere. Charlie, is the 60 Camaro, is that the one you did the mini tubs on? No, this is another one. This is the other car, the basket case Camaro. The one I did the mini tubs on, that car's gone. I sold it. But I had the yellow, well, green slash yellow 68 that was a rollover, and that's what's going to be on the agenda. I gotta rebuild that car. Robert, all metal filler. See, that's the one I was talking about, and he says it's made by USC. So you may want to research that and see if that works for you. Leonard says lead is not that hard. I'm assuming that's what he's saying. I've never messed with lead, so I don't know. I don't know. Charlie is saying all metal. Yeah, that all metal filler. Marshall, howdy folks. I've I guess I've been told before to use metal to metal filler in those lead spots. So there you go. Another one I was talking about, metal filler. And Charlie says all metal. Leonard, lead is not that hard to do, just a little time to file and shape. And it may be. Maybe I overthink the lead process. But I just haven't used it. I still remember as a kid, that'll lead me to, oh, wait a minute. Wally checking in. Sorry, I forgot it was Thursday. That's what happens when you retire. Yeah. It's good to be retired, though. Phil, have you done a water leak test on a car? I'm in the same boat as you, as I'll avoid driving in the rain. Take care. I have not. And I don't know that I will. I mean, I probably should or could, but I'm not really interested in doing that. I'll just say it. These things, water's going to get in somewhere, whether it's to the side glass or whatever. And I'm just trying to avoid it entirely, but I have not done a water leak test. Jason C, thanks all. You're welcome. Randy Wilson checking in. Glad you're here, Randy. What I was talking about earlier with the lead, and I'm going to go into a quick little, where's it at? Quick little junkyard story time. You ready for this? Okay. So growing up, a child of the 70s, and my dad having the junkyard, he would haul cars in for scrap. Well, the thing is, they had one price if you were bringing in a car complete. If it had seats and stuff in it and interior and rubber and all that stuff, there was one price. The better price was if you brought the car in with none of that in it at all, as best you could. How do you do that? Well, you could unbolt things and rip this out and pull that out and blah, blah, blah. Or you just set it on fire. So that's what my dad did. He'd pile up 2 or 3 cars close to each other, right next to each other. He'd dump gas on them and light them up. And then we just stand there and watch them burn. Now, this was long before we ever had all the rules and laws and stuff, and don't do this, don't do that. So he would burn these cars up and they would get crispy. He'd burn off all the paint, all the material, all the cloth and whatever inside. But what I realized from that was, the lead, how much lead was in these cars. And I remember as a kid watching the lead just drip out of the side of the car and then seeing later on how it met that, that seam. So that's why, like I said, I never really got into the lead. I just remember seeing it as a kid and watching it melt out of the cars. Now, the thing with that, and again, we're talking about the 70s where, you got to make some money doing things. In scrapping cars, there's a process. So you would pull out the engine. I forget how they scaled it. It was number 1 steel or number 1 metal, number 2 metal, aluminum, blah, blah, blah. Number 1 was like plain steel. Number 2 was like cast iron. And whatever the numbering system was, I don't remember. But there was another one for copper. So those cars would burn maybe on a Saturday or Friday or something. And the next day it was my job to crawl inside those cars and cut out all the wiring. Yeah. Yep. I'd be inside these burnt hulk of a car with a pair of wire cutters, pulling as hard as I could to get wires out as far as I could and cut them off. And then we would salvage the copper wire. And I think that is partly why I have a fixation saving all the copper wire that I do. Uh, you know, um, Robert has seen it. I've got a great big pile of copper wire back here in the corner, and it's a bunch of junk, but it's still there. It's still wire, and I still, go back there, and if I need something, like I was wiring up this radio, I was like, oh, I only need this much black wire. There it is. Okay, fine, got it. But yeah, that was a thing. Go back and cut out the wires. Other than that, the rest of the car would just be hauled off and scrapped. Before it went, we would run it over with the tank. So you have to crush it, as low as you can with the tank, because you want to get more than one car on a truck. So just saying. Dawn, I will for sure water test Betsy. She's going to be Oregon proof. Yeah. Out where you're at, Dawn. Yeah, that's a good idea. Charles, looking forward to videos during the Camaro Resto. I have a 67 RS basket case. Well, hopefully I get it rolling, get it all back together. Troy, Justin, hey y'all, sorry I'm late. I'm glad you're here. Robert, yes, it's a big pile and we use some of it for the lights in the blasting cabinet. Yeah. I just, to this day, it's like, if I were to, want to probably, well, I don't know if I still would cut it out of the wiring like I would when I was a kid, but anytime I'm working on something and I end up with a wiring harness, if I had bought a light kit or something and there was a wiring harness with it, just like the speaker wires, I still just throw it in a pile. Just a big pile of wiring. Randy Wilson's talking to Robert. You were right about the aftermarket part fits on my 65, having a ton of trouble. Yep. Doesn't help. I welded the dang internal rocker to the wrong point. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good at all. So, yeah. I'm not sure of the total situation, but always, like I said, test fit. And what else do I say? Sequence is scored. The military always said sequence is scored. Ouch from Robert, and Randy had to cut it back out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. I hate to have to learn those lessons that way, but yeah. What else was I going to mention? Oh, the convertible car. I did a little bit of work to that. I'd started on that cross member when I was trying to fit the engine in, all the problems with that. And I had to modify the cross member to make the oil pan clear. I got all that welded back together. So that's all nice and solid, looks fantastic. And I did weld the, I don't know what you call them, the braces that go from the torque box to the frame rail, the little triangular piece. So those are welded in. Yeah, so I did a little bit to the convertible car, but I'm leaning towards that being all I'm going to do to that convertible car once again. Anyway, enough of that. So I have to contact some people about the panels for the fastback conversion. I need to see if they're available even. I haven't kept up with any of that stuff. And I know typically people are ordering things and they're weeks and weeks out of whether they're going to get it. Now, last week on Monday, we had Guido on here who works at the shipping yards out in LA. He said there are 17 shipyards and they're packed full. And he pointed out that he calls them chassis, trucks. He implied that there's not enough trucks to get the stuff out. The 70 ships that are out on the ocean waiting, and I still can't imagine. When he tells me the containers that are on the ships, I can't I don't know. He had said on Monday night that there are between 10 and 20,000 containers on each one of those ships, or up to 10 to 20,000 containers that those ships, some of those ships can hold. My mind can't put that together. If you look at the size of those ships and you look at I mean, granted, yeah, you can see all the containers that are on that thing, but I just can't picture that there would be 10,000 containers on there. Maybe, I don't know. My mind just doesn't make that image very well. He had sent me a picture that said they were stacked. I think he said 8 high and 15 wide in one row, like 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, and by 15. So if that's the case, that's 80. That's 120. That's 100. Is that 120? 8 times 160. No, 106. I don't know. My mind's not working right now. 32. I'm going all over the place. 112. Maybe it's 112 is the answer I'm looking for. Anyway, 8 times 15. But if that's the case, that's one row. So I still can't picture 10,000. I still can't picture that. It doesn't make sense in my mind. It doesn't make sense. Robert, I will make my fair share of mistakes often later on there. Something you will redo because you didn't like how you did it the first time. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Randy, you see, your just shipped my new front rails today. Cool. You. Troy, NPD has parts now. I canceled my orders from CJ. Got my NPD part in 3 days. Good. Yeah, my mind was, Dawn says 120 and Crash Rider says 120. That was my first number that came to my mind, but then it was like, wait a minute, am I doing this math right? Because how often do we just do math anymore? Not often, but 120 does make sense. Yeah. Thank you for that. It's a long day already. I made 2 trips to get parts. I've got one more to do if I'm going to get the car here. And, another plus on this car, it has a title. So pretty cool that it has a title. Great. I'm talking about just about anything. Cars, shipping, boats out in the ocean, why we don't have parts, who has parts. I'm all over the place. Just ask away. You got a question about a classic car? Ask it. We got a group of people over there that'll help answer any kind of questions as best we can. And if we don't know, we don't know. But by all means, join us. So, let's see. Oh, Randy says, "Oh, okay, my bad. Women." Okay, good. Let's see. Boogie Bum, 8 times 15 is 120. 150 of those rows would equal 18,000 containers. It's hard to wrap your brain around that much stuff. Yeah. I mean, I can't. 150 rows. So if those are 40-foot containers, right? 40-foot containers. I'm not going to do the math. How long would that ship be in that working space? 150 rows, right? That's like 6,000 feet. Is that right? Let's see here. Jason, larger ships, ultra-large container ship can hold over 18,000 containers. Their size is limited by Suez and Panama Canal size. See, that's what I'm saying. I just can't wrap my mind around it. 83, I guess you're saying 80 rows. Or you say 80 rows, 120 is 10,000. Robert, when you're talking about containers, they're counting them as 20-foot containers. Yeah, I don't know. I guess so. That would make more sense. But I always thought they were 40-foot. But 20-foot, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Now you can cut the thing in half, right? Half the dimensions. Crash Rider, You have to consider rows are stacked. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Let's see, Randy, a lot of Chinesium stuff for sure on those boats. Yeah, probably all. Well, I'm sure there's stuff from Vietnam and Indonesia and Guatemala or whatever, And on 83 rows equals 3,300 feet. Okay. Well, if they're 20-foot containers, now that makes a lot more sense. We have Dave checking in. Better late than never. Yeah. Well, I'll give you the Dave bell since you're made it. That's the only Dave we've had today, but I'm glad you're here. Oh, and let me say, let's go, Brandon. Anyway, so if you look at if you go to my Teespring page, there's actually a I have a Let's Go Brandon T-shirt out. If you're interested. Robert, they count them as TEU instead of FEU, 20 versus 40. Okay, well that makes more sense then. That makes a lot more sense because my mom was picturing a 40-foot container, and just as it wasn't clicking right. Let me think if there's anything else important that I need to mention or talk about. I'm probably going to try to finish up. Well, I can't finish this radio video until I get that antenna. I can't put it in yet. I don't know what I might do for Friday as far as a video. Things have been kind of a little bit off the rails right now, just because dealing with the convertible car is not good for me right now. Not a good thing. This car is pretty much finished. So, I've got to do a little rearranging and try to get either the the 68 Camaro in here, which is probably what I need to do. But it's been I know it's kind of a lull right now with what I've been working on. So I may just have to do an update video for tomorrow. I don't know yet, but things are coming along. I'm going to get stuff going. Let's see. Jerry, nowadays the biggest container ship in terms of capacity, MSC Gulson, with 23.756 TEUs, 400 meters in length, 61.5 meters in width, and 16.5 meters draft. Okay. That is huge. That is huge. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate that. So anyway, like I said, trying to get something going with the Camaro or whatever. And, just lots going on in my head right now. Lots going on. And some things that I hate to have to deal with, but I'm going to deal with. And one way or another. Okay. It's been 45 minutes. Unless somebody else has some good questions they want to bring up or topics or something like that, I'm probably going to call it a day. I need to talk to Roger next door, see if he wants to go get this car. If he does, I need to get it probably, I don't know if I'll get it inside here yet or not, or if it'll be on his trailer for a short period of time, but probably work on getting that here as well. So unless that's it, that's going to be it. Okay. But I thank you for being here. I will be back on Monday and, hopefully have some more things we can talk about. And I appreciate everyone participating and being part of the program. But yeah, let me see. One more comment. You're voting no. Jason C. votes. He's voting for Lucy or maybe even Lucille for the Mustang project. Not a bad idea. I like it. Thank you for that. Okay. But that'll be it. We'll see you Monday night. But until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.